Welcome everyone to the Predictive Playbook. This is Manny's Irish Pub Edition. I'm going to be joined by Rob Veno and Tony Finn in just a little bit. This gives me time to get to the PGA edition, and I want to show my DraftKings right away here without wasting too much time. This is one of my lineups for tomorrow, just to provide some transparency. I really like Morikawa in this lineup quite a bit. I like him in this tournament as well. If you think about some of the guys at the top of the board in terms of costs, they're probably not worth it right now because they're just probably going to be fine-tuning. Their focus may not actually be on winning, but consistency. Read a couple articles with Rory McIlroy this week already stating that he is searching for consistency and looking for to hone in the irons. Yeah, the wedges at the British Open are going to be huge when you miss shots and the wind could be high, temperatures all over the place. It's going to be tough. And when you miss a shot and you're 60 yards out, you have to be able to get up and down, and that has defined the winner of the British Open on many occasions. So we have some players here you probably never heard of. We have Johnston, Sam Burns, Fickart, Dubuisson, Morikawa, of course, and I'm sure you've heard of Justin Harding. Justin Harding is a bit of a crapshoot here, but I do think he is worthy to be in any DraftKings lineup at $7,600. I think he is bargain basement for this type of venue. So that's the lineup there. Now we're going to move over to the Major League Baseball free pick of the day here. And this is the New York Yankees, 42-41 versus Seattle. They're 45-40, but New York continues to struggle. They continue to get men on base. They continue to not get them to touch home plate. And they are 2 games over 500 after touching the 500 level and bouncing off of it. I still can't determine. And if anybody in the chat room wants to chime in with something, then please do. But I can't find any reason right now to back the New York Yankees, and it sounds crazy given the lineup and the talent they have. I'm still going to stick with this. This betting system is awesome. It's even better against the run line when you get a dog above plus 150 involved. In this case, we don't have that. But we have Herman going up against Yusei Kukichi, and that's exactly how you say it. I looked it up. But Yusei is his nickname, which is pretty cool. He's a lefty. And you're going to bet on home underdogs. The dog had 10 fewer hits than their previous opponent did in the previous game. And our dog's bullpen allowed at least 4 runs in their previous game. This combination has gone 34-17, using the money line for 67% winning bets over the last 5 seasons. This all tolls. The $100 bettor has made $3,145 and a 60% ROI. The average bet has been a really nice plus 147 underdog wager over this time period. And it truly really doesn't get any better than this one. You can sit back and wait for these plays to hit, knowing that this is a track record. Certainly no guarantee or promise that it's going to be exactly the same going forward. But I do think this provides the ability to follow a system and then be able to have some confidence that what you're doing is going to end up making money over the course of the season. 39-12 using the run line for 77%, 45% ROI because the average wager then becomes closer to pick to slight favorite. But 39-12 for 77%, you can't argue with. $100 per bet is $2,700 in profits. It's a grind type of business, guys. You know, that's the way it is. It's not an easy thing to do, and it requires immense discipline. So that is the Major League Baseball angle of the day. And I'm going to put my records up here for a second, and I'm going to send out a quick tweet since I'm by myself for the show so everybody can see that I am live here and they can come join us. So that'll take a second. Let's see here. All right. be right with you guys here. I'm just sending out this tweet quick here. Here we go. Don't worry, I'm still here. There we are. Now that tweet is out. And we should get some more people here in the chat room. So that's all good. Getting back to the show here. I was expecting these guys to be joining me here. So I'll fill in some time here with the soccer game that's going on between England and Denmark. And just a second to bring up that score. Some of you are probably watching it live right now. Let's see here. We have soccer. And it is 1-1. England finally allowed a goal by Denmark. I'm not sure if Denmark scored first, but we're at the 54-minute mark. England won, Denmark won, so pretty much certainty that we'll go to over 2.5 goals already. And that was my lean earlier in the week, as you probably heard on my shows. And that one is pretty much a lock. So then this would set up the winner with Italy, who really has come on recently and showing exactly what type of team they are. A lot of chemistry, a lot of good play, a lot of guys stepping up. It kind of almost reminds me of a couple of teams here in the United States in different sports where they really don't have that superstar across the board type of team, but they do have one or two that are really, really good, and everybody else is falls into place and does their job. And it just seems like they're having a lot of fun right now, and no matter what age you are, you have to have fun at any level, and those are the type of teams that have that chemistry that's just kind of magical. So like I said, I'm hoping these guys are going to come on here. I was only planning on a couple minutes here in baseball. But the Phillies are in an interesting situation, too. We can talk about that as well. The Phillies are starting to come on, actually. Their bullpen still is a huge question mark. But for a team that's flirting with 500, anywhere from 5 games over to 5 games under, and oscillating between those levels, it seems like they might be the team that can jump out here and make a run. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but when you read a box score like last night that had Bryce Harper going 4 for 5, that's a good sign of things to come. And I'm joined by Rob Veno here. Hey, Rob.
Good afternoon, John. How are you today?
Wait. I can't actually hear you, but let me change my...
Hold on.
Just 1 second on. It's on me. Now we're going to be good. Now I can hear you, I bet.
All right. Can you hear me?
So anyway, I've been going through the Scottish Open, and I've gone through a baseball game, Seattle, taking them as a slight dog over the Yankees with the angle of the day type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking about the Phillies tonight, that they have Wheeler on the hill, arguably their ace, and looking better. I mean, the bullpen's still a major question mark. They have to make a move here before the trade deadline. But Harper was 4 for 5 last night, and I believe, Rob, he didn't even have an RBI in that game. That was another barn burner. We talked about that over in the show yesterday, and that certainly came through pretty easily. Tonight, though, I think it's a bet just to bet the Phillies. The Cubs, just because they lost 11 in a row doesn't mean they're not going to lose 12. And they're not playing well. And there's something wrong with Arrieta, because it's 2 consecutive starts now that he's been absolutely just been hammered. The first 2 innings he doesn't even get out of, and and they have to go to the bullpen. The bullpen's already in massive trouble. And a team like the Phillies, when they beat you that badly, then there's definitely something inherently wrong with that pen. But what did you think of the game last night?
Well, from the Cubs' perspective, John, you're right. They're playing horrendous. It was, I believe, since the day of the combined no-hitter. Zach Davies started. They no-hit the Dodgers, and since then they haven't won a game. And the last couple of nights against Philadelphia, I think, has put up 25 runs against that pitching staff. So they're just not playing well on any front whatsoever, to the point where now you see a lot of MLB insiders considering the Cubs might be a seller at the deadline, which is totally against their nature. Big market club doesn't really want to sell off. They want to contend. They had expectations this year. And for all intent and purposes, they were in this race, and I believe in first place, 5 weeks ago. So maybe less than 5 weeks ago.
I think it was.
So it's tough for the Cubs right now. Where the Phils are concerned, I think the best thing I saw from the Phillies, and I don't know that they'll make a run in the NL East, but the best thing I saw was a quote by Rhys Hoskins, who said it's on us as players to put pressure on management. In other words, they know that they need to win games in order for management to go out and make a move at the deadline to help this team to get to the playoffs. So that one quote right there shows you that the Phillies' mindset is in a good place as far as the clubhouse is concerned. They want to go out and win, and they're trying their best to pressure their management to get them the additional pieces that they need. And I heard you talking about their bullpen. Obviously, that's the source of concern, number one. Maybe some back-end pitching. I mean, Zach Wheeler has been tremendous. You could argue he's one of the three best pitchers in the National League at this point in time. He's just had numbers that have been incredible. So behind him, Aaron Nola hasn't been Aaron Nola, really. He's been, not the guy that they thought he was going to, that he's been in the past, let's put it that way. Then you have Vince Velasquez, who actually has, I think, exceeded expectations. Zach Eflin, I guess, for a 4 starter, he is what he is. And then you come to a 5 spot, which isn't necessary in the playoffs, but certainly it's necessary for the second half. So we'll see. If they keep playing this way and taking advantage of, I didn't look ahead at their schedule, John. Maybe you have who's after the Cubs. But if the schedule is advantageous heading into and out of the break, and they can take advantage of it, then certainly we'll see. They've got a lot of money, right? They got nothing but money, the Philadelphia Phillies. So and they can go out and do some things. I don't know about farm system and assets that they have that other teams would want, but regardless, they'll find a way to get it done if, in fact, they're in a position that it shows management that they have a shot in the playoffs. You have to think ahead to a short playoff series, too. Do you want to go into a series with Wheeler, Nola, and Velasquez and Eflin? And are you going to match up with Milwaukee, Woodruff, Burns, Peralta? Do you match up with the Dodgers? Well, now that Trevor Bauer's gone, who knows, right? Trevor Bauer may not be back either. That hurts the Dodgers significantly. And do you match up with the Padres when they can throw Darvish, Snell, and Paddock? I guess it's pretty close. The Phillies right now pretty close. The Mets, Walker, Stroman, DeGrom, that's pretty good as well. It's interesting to note here real quick, John, then I'll finish up, just that in that NL East, it's the Miami Marlins, the last place team that has the best run differential of anybody in that division. So, maybe there's a move to be made by Miami. Who knows? That division certainly is up for grabs, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's interesting you brought up the schedule for the Phillies because they go to Boston after this, which is going to be tough. Mm-hmm. I believe, let me double check that because I might have it mixed up with the Cubs actually, but let's double check before I say that. Schedule here. All right, so we are, it's Red Sox for 3, then the All-Star break.
And coming out of that, who do they get?
Coming out of that, on Friday the 16th, they have a doubleheader with those Marlins. And that's at home. So they have a 4-game set over 3 days. Day off, then they're at the Yankees for 2, then they're at the Braves for 4 at home, 4 with the Nationals at home. And that takes them up to the 29th. So there's a lot of divisional games right there.
Right.
4, 8, 12. Wow, 12 of the 14 games out of the All-Star break leading up to the All-Star, or not the trade deadline, are against divisional foes. That's huge.
Yeah, because if you look at the standings as we talk right now, the separation between the Phillies, Nationals, and Braves is 1 game.
It's amazing.
So whoever comes out of that, those series in the best shape, and I don't know what the Mets have, but they all trail the Mets by at least 4. Miami 8.5. But to your point, it's significant where the Phils are concerned and where that Rhys Hoskins quote is concerned. If you want to put pressure on management, and 12 of 14 are divisional games, my guess would be out of those 12, you need to go 8-4 to show management that you can contend for that division. And maybe they'll make a move if you turn around and go 4-8. Philly's mindset could change real quick, and maybe some pieces like Gene Segura that look good to other teams could end up going. So We'll see. It's an important stretch though, heading into the end of July. Those games against the Marlins are key because they pitch like crazy. Alcantara and Lopez and those guys, you're always in trouble against them. It's never easy. And also Braves, who are, stumbling around. I saw they scored 5 in the top of the 6th today, and then the rain came, so who knows? They might not finish getting that one in. Washington Nationals, West Coast right now, right, 1-1 split with San Diego, but all those teams bunched up. Very important for the Phils if, in fact, they want the organization to give them additional pieces, which they need. They can't win the National League without substantial help, especially in that bullpen. And it's out there, John. I was looking at some names today. There are guys that can be picked up. I know that there's very few sellers at this point. It looks like there's just a cluster of 4 or 5 teams that are going to get raided by these other teams that believe they're still in it. So they're going to have leverage, as they usually do at the trade deadline. But like I say, the Phils will find ways to accommodate other teams if, in fact, they think they have a chance. So let's see how those 12 games go inside the division. And even those couple with Boston heading in. You don't want to go into the All-Star break on a bad note. Even a split of those two is good enough at this point in time. And tonight, I think just to get to the point at hand, which is Zach Wheeler tonight against the Cubs, that's a game they should win. That's a game they should definitely win. Zach Wheeler's numbers, as we've said, I heard you say and I've said already, they have been incredible, and he's been by far their ace. So hopefully they can rely on him tonight to keep the Cubs quiet and the Bats can stick around one more game. I was there at the stadium Saturday.
That's right.
Game, they had a 2-hour rain delay to start with. It didn't start till 6:05. Then in game they had another rain delay, top of the 4th. But Bryce Harper hit a ball that day into the right field. I think it landed in the first deck. The thing about it was it could have taken down a jet plane. It was hit so high at 113 miles an hour. And then Hoskins hit a bullet out of there as well. And in a game against Yu Darvish, Phillies did the job. Won that game 4-2. Their bullpen did a great job because of the rain. Obviously, you had to count on the bullpen for 5 innings. And 4-2 win shows they did the job. So things are looking better for the Phils right now. The Sunday debacle, what are you going to do? They took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. That's what's most meaningful in that series. Right. And now they're off to the races against the Cubs. Let's see if they can finish it off.
And look who's joining us now, Mr. Tony Finn in the house.
Hold on.
Look at this guy.
This is bald. I'm going bald. Do I dare say? The in-laws are in town? And there we go. That's better.
So they're making you go bald?
Well, no one makes me do anything, but me. So much like if I trip and fall, it's not who stuck their leg out. It's who didn't avoid the leg. It must be accountable. So if I'm going bald, it's because it's fate, I guess. I don't know. I don't think
It's
I'm
not
going
because
bald.
the
Listen,
Rogaine's not working.
I have
or-
a full head of hair, right? I have a. I don't have a. There's not a bald. There's not a man alive in my family that's bald. Of course.
Are you trying to be the first then, or I'm trying to?
Well, the ones that
gather all
the
this
ones that
information
God,
up here.
the ones I loved, and God bless them. They went bald because of artificial. What's the word I should use? Not insemination.
Intelligence?
No, of like chemotherapy or something, like that.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's dreadful. Yeah, you don't want to go bald because of that. Believe me.
Well, listen, that's not necessarily true all the time. I mean, I know that I've said many times that on a show I'll be doing a show and something we'll be doing an in-game live show or something, and something will happen that makes me want to say or admit to, well, guys, I got to go because I'm only on the first floor, and I have to go to the second floor and friggin' jump because of that play. And then then of course they talk me down and say, "Listen, Tony, it's only going to just hurt a lot. It's not going to kill you from the second floor. So just let's move on." And then I say, something, you're right. Yeah. And so, Tony joins the show, and right off the bat, we get away from sports. We're talking about in-laws, bald, and suicide. Just doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about bungee jumping off the second floor. I didn't realize it was
Bungee,
that.
yeah. Well, that would require being like stable and sensible and in a spot in a space where you do the right math, because I'm quite certain I would do the wrong math on the bungee, and it wouldn't quite bounce back in time.
Well, it does remind me of the New York Yankees, and they're on a very long bungee cord. Maybe not as long as the Arizona Diamondbacks, but given their talent, I remember the first time I did the bungee cord thing, and
You have done that?
yes,
And just
It's-
out of
it's like
curiosity,
so many-
just for
it's
my
like so-
book, what inspired you to say, "Listen, guys, I'm going up here to this bridge. It's about 250 feet
and it's a perfectly
from
good bridge.
from the surface of the dry river below me, and I'm going to take a rubber band, wrap it around my neck, and jump and see how much fun this is going to be." So what just for my book, what inspired you to do something like that?
Because I watched probably several hundred people over many days do it
I see.
without incident.
Well, you know what?
Without
That would have steered me away completely, because, as you well know, the odds every time someone's successful, the odds of you being unsuccessful increase.
Yes, they do.
That runs through my head too, and that's a problem a lot of people have at the airport. They go to the airport and they think, "Oh man, it hasn't. No plane's crashed in 20 years, and now it's my turn to get on it." And
My deal at the airport was different than that, though. I would go, "Listen, no one's gotten caught with that kilo strapped around their leg, and for how many years? I'm safe."
well, those coffee grinds, I understand, works
Yeah,
pretty
right.
well.
Colombian Pablo Escobar dark roast.
No, but the bungee cord, I'll tell you this: the first time you do it, like you do some of the other things for the first time,
Yeah.
pretty damn scary.
Well,
Right?
that's what makes it.
You're
That's
going
what makes it
down
fun.
there. I guess maximum speed with Earth gravity and all that kind of stuff is about 35 miles an hour. But it
somebody
feels like
did the
100.
math. Somebody
It
did
feels
the
like
math.
100.
Well,
And
yeah.
even when you feel it grab, it doesn't grab. You know that moment when you take off and it's like, oh, this thing's not going to get off the ground, and all of a sudden it goes, shoo, right?
What?
Well, that's the bungee cord reversed.
I see. Yeah.
You can feel it grabbing, but you're still going right down towards the ground. And then all of a sudden it grabs, and then you go flying up. And
It's official. It's official, Rob. John is a degenerate, because only degenerates. That's why they gamble too. It's like, I don't want to put. I got $200 in my wallet that I have nothing. It's not assigned. It's not committed to anything. However, what fun is that? I got the mortgage money too. So let's just combine the two and make a little extra cash.
Nothing like risking the house, right?
What? Yeah. What did Lee Trevino say? Well, the highlight. What was that about the highlight window? It's not.
No,
there's no pressure making a 4-foot putt. It's going to the highlight window. And what did he say? What did he say, Rob?
No. It was after he won the U.S. Open. They were interviewing him about the pressure and how he handled it for 4 consecutive days. And he goes, "Oh my goodness, this was nothing." And they go, "What do you mean it was nothing?" And he says, "You don't know what pressure is. Pressure is when you're at your club and you have a 4-foot putt on a $5 Nassau and you have no money in your pocket."
That's right. That's
pressure.
And guess what? That is the rest of the story, right? I mean, that is the rest of the story.
It sums it up. But I didn't have my wallet with me when I did the bungee cord thing.
Well, I think you understand the analogy.
They make you take it out,
whatever you want to call it, but it is the same thing. It's that where you're risking something that's more than you can afford or puts your life in peril. You're risking something more than what you already have, because we humans are a sick bunch. We can't just be happy with what we have. And,
a little defective.
And a little bit, yeah.
A little bit, here and there. But there's a difference between exhilaration, which I view as positive, and rush. A rush reminds me of someone taking heroin.
Well,
it's a rush.
It's been a long time since I
it makes you
had
sweat.
a rush.
It's like, oh my God, if I lose this game, what am I going to do?
Well,
But then it's too late. That's
when you do the heroin.
I hope everybody's taking notes on this. What do you think, Rob? You on board with this? But bungee cord, the second time you do it, it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm brave as hell now. It's
not
nothing.
Friday. It's not
nothing.
Friday, but we're drinking.
That's all right.
Let's go. Yeah.
And I was dead sober when I did these things. And I also will tell you this. This makes me
that disqualifies
this makes me a borderline degenerate, not a complete degenerate.
You're right.
In college, a bunch of my fraternity friends and I
once in college.
We did have airplanes back then.
Right,
we
brothers,
took
airplanes.
We took skydiving lessons.
Yeah, Kitty Hawk.
Skydiving lessons.
Now that makes
Central Pennsylvania.
Skydiving still makes more sense than
it does
than bungee jumping. Yes,
at least I'm connected to something on bungee jumping. You have to trust that cord is not
that's
going to
the
tear
problem.
or rip or it's going to open or.
Yeah, no. I mean, skydiving
from 12,000 feet.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's 12 feet, 12,000, 212,000 feet. If you got an oxygen mask, then it doesn't matter, because to some degree, unless you did your own bungee, you did the own math, that you absolutely and 100% guaranteed the manufacturer of your bungee cord, you're in control of a parachute. If you pack your own parachute, well, you packed your own, so it's on you. That's different. It's different.
A week before the first jump, I chickened out, but I did go watch my buddies jump, which I thought was kind of sick, because if I'm not doing it, why am I watching them do it?
Well, no, exactly. And if you don't, and if you're gonna run out the door backwards with your eyes closed when you skydive, that doesn't even count. You have to walk to that ledge and say, "To hell with everyone," in case I don't live through this.
So there's no difference between 12,000 feet and the second floor.
and F you. And if I do make it, I was just drunk when I said all this stuff.
Yeah, I'll never forget the instructor. It was kind of a warped part of the lesson that don't be concerned. It only hurts when you hit the ground.
Which it probably doesn't.
No, I don't think I would think from.
I think you have medically. I might be wrong on this. I remember something about, and this was a serious part of the instruction, that events like that, which are very, very rare, the person has a heart attack and is already pretty much dead before they hit the ground because of the.
I had a heart attack.
Horror of it
I had a heart attack.
Can't imagine.
And was able to walk, talk, and try to talk my doctor out of keeping me at the hospital. How does that work?
And what did you do?
Well, I told him, I said, I promise you I'll be back after I close. I was getting ready to close on one of my properties, and I told my wife I had my daughter had graduated from college, and so we went to her graduation. We flew back home and went to her graduation, and we had a blowout that night. You know, at if you can imagine having a high-end Mexican restaurant in a college town that sells $100 shots of mezcal, and Tony was in attendance, then two things happened. They ran out of mezcal, and Tony never ran out of money because there were still checks left in his checkbook. So the next morning, I didn't feel very well, and I kept telling my wife, I said, this is not a hangover. I've had, let me see, last 10,223 and a half hangovers in my life, and this is not one of them. This is not the other half. So I said, I'll be fine. But long story short, I was walking downstairs to grab something to get ready to exit my sister's home. We were staying with her because we didn't have a place. We didn't want to stay in a hotel. We were cheap. And we like staying with her anyway because she has good alcohol, good tequila, good food, and nobody's there to judge you, so it's a good place to be. And and so long story short, I couldn't make it downstairs. I said, man, listen, you know me. I know this is not right. I think the best thing to do is let's stop by the urgent care emergency room on the way to Lawrence to close. And when I got there, I was fine. I felt fine. I said, why are we stopping? Well, we were already in there where I checked. They had me in the room. They were doing tests, and the doctor came and said, listen, I think, Tony, that you may have had a heart attack. And I said, I feel great now. I feel great. And he goes, I'm not certain. This, that, this. And I said, well, Doc, listen, I close on a home in about 2 hours, hour and a half. I promise you I'll come back and we'll finish those tests. But right now I've got to go do this because this is not an and or. This is an and, where it took my wife and myself to sign off on this, And I had him convinced. He said, okay, well, let me do one more little thing first. It takes about 10 minutes. Is that okay? And we'll get you out of here and then schedule, and we'll find out what time you think, et cetera, et cetera. And so he comes back and says, Tony, I got some good news. I got some good news, and I got some good news. And I said, well, I've never heard that one before. Well, give me the bad news. He said, no, I got good news. I said, give me the bad news. And he said, I think you had a heart attack. In fact, I know you had a heart attack. And according to the test, now I have to go in and do another test to see where the blockage is. And I already called you a driver to take you to the hospital because we're going to from what I believe we're going to put some stents in, because that's what I think the way you've handled this and the heart attack that I had, or at least my reaction to it, was some blockage. It wasn't a massive coronary grab your throat and start praying, that kind of a heart attack. So he did. He sent me in there. I called my buddy who's had a few heart attacks in his life and survived them. And he said, Tony, whatever you do not let those sons of bitches put those stents in through your thigh, because you'll be at the hospital for 4 days. I mean, or you'll be tied. It's bad. It's bad. And I said, well, what am I going to do? Wave their magic wand and put the sons of bitches in? What? He goes, you go through your wrist.
Oh, that makes
sense.
I
looked left, I looked right, and I said, how big are the stents? And he said, well, they're not microscopic. You can see them. I said, and you're going to tell me they're going to put them in through my wrist, they're going to run them up through my arm, through my shoulder, down into the arteries of my heart. Two of them, 2 stents, 90% blockage. And I'm blabbering on. I don't even know what the point of this was. And that was I drank too much damn mezcal. Okay, I drank too much mezcal, and this day I do exactly what the doctor said not to do, and I'm waiting for the next time I get to go to that son of a bitch, and this time when he tells me I had a heart attack, I'm gonna say, well, I promised to be back, Doc. Remember? He goes, yeah, and I said, nope, I promise to effing be back. Right now, I'm going to go do another shot of mezcal before you kill me, and then I'll be back. You know, that kind of thing. Because that's what I felt about that. I don't even know how we got on the subject other than the
things
Cubs
that scare
suck.
you. It's things that scare you, like betting on the Yankees.
Yeah, well, the betting on the Reds. Yesterday, I'm going to have a perfect day, and for the second time in 2 weeks, the Reds, the bullpen's been pretty good recently, right? I mean, they have been. If you look at their numbers, 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth. They get a 5-0 lead after 2. They lose. I don't lose just the 1.5. I lose outright.
Well, there's no better way. If
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
can
do something,
think
do
of a
something
lot. I can think of a
full
lot
bore.
better ways than get it in the rear end blindsided. I can think of a lot better ways to get it.
Well, speaking
right?
of the Reds, we were
Castillo been really good.
Before you came on the show, we were Rob and I
Before I
were
was late.
in-depth deep dive into the Major League Baseball standings.
I heard you a little bit. I heard
Yeah.
Rob kind of.
So I was actually paging back. The Cubs are 8 games out right now before they lose tonight again. And on June 30th, they were 6 games out.
They were in first place a month ago.
And they were only 5 games out. Oh, here we go. I'm going to find it right where they were tied or in the lead.
I got asked. It wasn't on this show. It was on First Pitch. Who's going to win the NL Central? In your opinion, who wins the NL Central? At that day, I said I didn't think it would be the Cubs, but they came out of that early season funk where they couldn't hit a fly they couldn't hit a 2-pound fly with a tennis racket. They were so bad, right?
They couldn't hit sand if they fell off a camel, is what you're trying to say.
No, I didn't say anything close to that. I said a 2-pound fly with a tennis racket. It sounds so much better than sand off a camel. I don't know why, but it sounds better.
I think people have trouble visualizing a 2-pound fly.
Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They haven't drank enough mezcal if they can't envision a 2-pound fly.
But seriously, I think it was a show that maybe it was just Rob and I, or it was me and somebody. I am all over the Reds to win the Central. Over the last month, maybe adequately stating it now.
Yeah, I didn't have that good a mezcal.
Well, that's why you got to stay with the IPA. It's moderation. But Cincinnati is a team, I think, actually, as you said, the bullpen's coming together.
Well,
and I mean, everybody else is kind of churning up. They win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2.
Well,
the exception of Pittsburgh, of course. But
if Finn would just stay off of them, you might be right. No, really, I kept track this year. After about 5 or 6, I decided to keep track. But 16, I have 16 games that I've played, officially released, that have been decided in the 9th inning, or switched, or basically reversed roles in the 9th inning, which means the team that was ahead either lost or the team that was behind won. Does that make sense? It's the same damn thing.
Yep.
And 16 of them. And here's the deal. You'll never hear me talk about it. I just kind of want it. But 14 of them, 12. I'm 12-4. 12 against me, 4 for me. So those are the things that happen. Typically, I would tell everyone, don't worry about those kind of things. It's a long season. It's 225 days in a Major League Baseball season, whatever the case may be. You're going to win as many of those as you lose. So.
And we also touched upon this with Rob too in this show. And I just looked at the expected win-loss, which is not to be confused with the shoulda, woulda, coulda club. But that based on your runs scored, runs allowed, how the games normally play out. In other words, you take out the bad luck factors. Mm-hmm. Who would be leading the National League East right now?
Who would be?
Yeah.
Well, if you happen to try the East, if you try to tell me that it would be the Marlins, then I would probably say, huh?
I'm going to.
How would I know that?
Based on expected win-loss, they would be.
No, I know, but how would I know it was the Marlins? How would I know? Who? I don't know anything.
Because I probably led the witness here a little bit in saying who would be
because I have I have charts on teams, and the Marlins grade out pretty high actually. Save that, once they get past that, they have four starters who are better than average starters. MLB better than average, better than pedestrian. But beyond that, it is John, it is Rob, it is Tony, finding that fourth floor when they told you there's only 2 floors, and that's how that's the drop it is. It's a huge
they are 10
drop.
games under 500 now, but if there was ever a division where a team like that could come back and catch fire, what do you think, Rob? You think I'm nuts? Yeah, I like the Reds futures bet a lot. I've gone to the window on that. I haven't done anything with the Marlins.
Well, there's a problem with the Marlins.
I'm kind of scared the look I would get in return. Like, you're going to bet the Marlins?
Well, why would you not bet them?
Well,
instead
you're
of why you
talking
would.
to the choir now. I mean, I think it's the best value bet on the board.
No, I never go to the window on why I'm going to bet somebody on a future, especially. It's why I can't bet. Why I can't not bet them. It's the donkey show in Mexico. That theory.
Yeah, it's because there are 10 games under 500. And can they make that up in roughly
No. Why
60 games?
Why can't you bet them? I mean, what would make you hesitate to betting them?
Because they can't hit.
Not only do they not have a bullpen, they can't subsidize. It's a guy that can strike out 18 a game for 9 innings, but he walks 16. And those 18 strikeouts do not subsidize. They don't make up for the walks.
Okay, stay with me on this. You just said that because they can't hit.
They can hit. They just can't hit very well.
Rob told me this, and this was something I actually was not aware of. I knew they were pretty close to even on run differential, but they're actually positive.
They are. They're positive.
Questionable bullpen and no hitting, how in the world are they doing this? And why can't the Yankees replicate this? All right, Mr. Finn.
Your hand is up.
What do you mean, why can't the Yankees do this? Yeah. Because the Yankees can't pitch or hit.
Well, they
don't tell me. Listen, the Yankees have made hay. They are where they are today because they have pitched. They have out-pitched their skill set. They did not pick up pitching in the offseason. Why didn't they pick up any pitching? But because they said we can outscore our bad pitching. That's what they thought.
Well, the Phillies have proved that wrong the last 2 games.
Huh?
Am I wrong about that? Wrong the last 2 games.
Well, here's what's holding the Marlins back.
Yeah.
Unlike Seattle, because Seattle's the polar opposite. Marlins pitch really well and don't win 1-run games. They're 9-19 in 1-run games. Seattle's 19-7. Seattle is so far. Yep. Their record is so far above and beyond how good they are. It's ridiculous, but it's that 19-7 1-run game record that's got them there. If Miami had that such luck, and they were 19-9 instead of 9-19, that would be a 10-game difference, which means you'd have a different leader in the NL East. You'd have Miami in first place right now. So
Rob could not be more right. Here's the problem, or here's the conundrum. You like that word? Let me use it. Here's the conundrum.
Love it.
And that is, that's not something that's not a variable where you experience what goes around comes around, or regression, positive regression to the mean. It's not. You cannot make up. Let me tell you something right now. Your pitcher may have a 350 BAIP, okay? Balls hit and play, 350. Over the next 500 balls or 300 balls hit in play. Let's say the second half of the season, 200 balls hit in play. The chances are that 355 or whatever I just said it was is a 255 or a 200. The problem with losing 1-run games, guess what? Is that you got 81 games left. You're 10 games down. That means essentially it's just not anything that it's not realistic. It's not something that you can say, oh, everybody quit swallowing their tongue. It's going to be okay because we have positive regression ahead of us. We are going to fall. We're going to have guys trip over first base. Be called out for using too much pine tar, on their little fingers and too far up high in the bat. None of that stuff's reality. It's not going to happen. You can't make that up. Every time you lose a game, it's different than an at bat. I guess I hope you know what I'm saying. It's different than one at bat. It's just different. It's an entire game. A game is made up of 35, 40 at bats per team. Okay. A save is made up of outs. Go ahead, but it's just not something you can make it up. You might make up a couple in the second half. Say, hey, there's 2 saves you got where you got fortunate. A line drive hit at a second baseman that ends up it was going to score the run, but it didn't. The line drive wasn't hit in the right spot, and it turns into a double play. All right, that's positive regression from that bad ball hit and play batting average.
Yep.
You're only going to be in 15 of those, 10 or 15 of those situations in a season, or maybe in the second half of a season, and to get your 10 back, I'll bet against it. How about you?
I would.
Yeah.
Rob, what did you say I'm going into the database here to pull out a little intelligence, possibly.
Sure.
What did you say the Marlins had, how many games did they lose by 1 run?
They've got 19 losses by 1 run, 9 wins.
Yeah.
If you take that out, they're a 28-28 baseball team without the 1-run games included.
Now, Rob, I'm going to interject with this too.
Go ahead.
That doesn't account for there may very well have been a 1-run game, and it became a 2-run game because their bullpen failed too. So it could be more than that. In truth, right? Is that possible? Could some
final
of those
result,
Huh?
Final result was 1 run, and it was a
Well,
loss.
yeah, but I'm just saying final results in reality aren't always the same either. 1-run games. Listen, how many times has your team been up by 5 runs? How many? 2 nights,
Right.
2 days
I
ago.
get
Wasn't
what
just
you're
yesterday. 2 days ago, I had under 9.5 in Detroit and Texas. 7-0. Bottom of the 9th inning. Texas, they hit 2 gopher. The pitcher's up there just getting the ball across the plate. They score 3 runs. I friggin' lose my total on a nothing burger in half inning. And that's how, again, those things happen. They've happened to me a lot this year, and they happened to me a lot during the COVID. I'm unconcerned because I know over the next 20 seasons, I will get those back.
And I get what Tony's saying here. I mean,
Yep.
a 3-2 game in the 9th is a 1-run game. A 7-3 game where the other team scores 3 runs in the 9th becomes a 7-6 was
Right.
never really a 1-run game. It was,
Or how about this? How about this, Rob? How about if it's 3-2 in the top of the 9th? Okay, 3-2,
Yeah.
and you have your bullpen in, and they score a manufacturer run, make it 4-2. In truth, listen, that's a situation that's similar to a 1-run game, in my opinion. It may have been a 2-run game, but your bullpen failed, and it was a 2-run game. Okay.
Right, so every 1-run game is not the same. But the
Right.
point being, Seattle's gotten far. I mean, all 26.
Yeah.
They play close games. Let's face it. Somehow they're coming out on top with. Certainly, they don't have better pitching than Marlins do, and from a starting perspective. Certainly, they don't have better pitching than the Marlins do from a relief perspective, and certainly they're not a better hitting club than
Nope.
the Marlins are from any perspective. So,
But they have something the Marlins don't have.
19 1-run wins.
That, and what got those? In your opinion, what got those? Wasn't
It's
talent.
just, you know what? In baseball, Tone, it's always clutch. It's always
Here's
clutch.
what it is too, and that is they're playing. They have nothing to lose. So Seattle, for the last 2 seasons, my microphone just for some reason just fell off the stand. So I can't talk about 1-run games anymore. No, but it's this. For the last 2 seasons, I've talked about this. They're above 500. And I said at the beginning of the season, I said, this is a team that's dangerous because all the contract they lost their GM because he was manipulating contracts. Doing some things with contracts that were they weren't for winning baseball games. They were for saving a nickel. And it became, you know what I'm talking about, right? With Seattle? Mm-hmm. He's no longer there. All their contracts, those guys aren't playing for, they're not playing for contracts. They're not playing, they're not in their free agent, their contract year. These guys are playing for jobs. And they didn't have a job, barely had a job. They're playing, they have nothing to lose. There's nothing more dangerous than a man you're across the room from, both of you have a gun, and that guy has nothing to lose. There's nothing more dangerous.
All that being said,
yeah,
statistically, I mean, I'll give J.P. Crawford, he's having a nice season.
Yeah.
I'll give Mitch Haniger, he's gotten some big hits. And I'll give Kikuchi, the starting pitcher, who's had a really good season so far. Statistically, there's nobody on that team with nothing to lose or whatever the reason. They're not doing anything spectacular.
No.
They're just – I feel like when it's time to get that third out to preserve the one-run win, they get that out. Maybe the Marlins, when it's time to get that third out to preserve the one-run win, they don't get that out. It always comes down to runners in scoring position, clutch hitting. It always comes down to pitchers getting clutch outs at times when, it could go either way. And it seems like the Marlins have just been on the wrong side of that seesaw, as they were just now with Sixto Sanchez, right? Sixto Sanchez, if he had come back and been part of that rotation, it would have really been a difference maker. But instead, he's gone for the rest of the year.
How many do you like to shoot hoops in your driveway?
I do.
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
How many times have you didn't care, there's no pressure, you get out there and you're just messing around and you throw one up behind your back and you know exactly where it's going to, and it goes, and you couldn't do it. Guess what? There's no pressure. That is the situation these guys are playing. They're playing loose. They're playing, I have nothing to lose, and I'm going to take this chance, or I'm going to take that chance, or I'm not going to take any chance at all, and I'm going to be technically sound. It doesn't matter. That matters. It matters. That's why confidence. That's why people always say that pitcher, he's got a new pitch, and it's not so much the movement of that pitch; it's the swagger he has when he throws the pitch. There's something. Listen.
Yep.
There's something to
this.
Yeah.
Because I totally understand your point. But is that any different than the way did the Marlins play with pressure?
Yes. I think, listen,
what reason?
I'll say this to you. No, probably not. I might be embellishing, or I might be taking this a step too far, but for a year and a half or two, everybody's been talking about how well the Marlins have Mattingly, the difference between Mattingly as a Dodger and Mattingly as a Marlin, and what Jeter is sold, what he's gotten from what he had, what he's gained. All this has accumulated into a team that had some expectations. And while this was supposed to be the best division in baseball, look, the Marlins are a 500 team. We all know that. They're a team that's going to win. They're going to lose because they don't pitch. Their bullpen's not very good, and they're not the guys. They're not the lineup that puts up crooked innings. Right. So they're a disappointment. At 500, they're just always disappointed. And the players start feeling that. They read it in the papers. They hear it on the radio. They're a disappointment.
And I guess to that point, the Marlins did make the playoffs last year.
That's right.
So when you make the playoffs, whether it had been a COVID year or not, whether it had been with an extra wild card team or not, when you make it, you're right, Tone. There are expectations. I wasn't even thinking that way until you brought it up. Then I remembered that. So there's a few more expectations in Miami off of that playoff season than there are in Seattle, where they haven't seen the playoffs since God knows when.
What's the difference? Let me ask you this. What's the difference between a guy that is having a career year, okay, and the guy that is pitching to his pay grade, to his skill set? What he's, there's expectations. You're getting paid for what you've done, and paid for what you're expected to do. That's ultimately the compromise of a salary negotiation. So, what's the difference between those two pitchers?
Motivation.
I'm in pressure. This is the deal. Trevor Rogers he's had an absolutely fantastic first half. Many people already have voted for him. He's already Rookie of the Year, right? Am I right?
Yep.
Okay. I'll say this. I think he's going to have some as bad as Atlanta has been. I think the lead singer for Jethro Tull has a chance to be Rookie of the Year. Let's see how he performs in the second half. But Trevor Rogers, from this point to the end of the season, when you have those expectations, there's something about. I've had expectations. And things we have expectations from our children, from our wives, from our bosses, from our neighbors, from our family, our in-laws, whatever the case may be. And it depends on the person. It depends on whether you are like me and you just don't give an F. Listen, expect all you want. You're going to get what I give you. But there's also guys out there that just feel so much pressure to perform, and they tighten up a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. All of us have experienced those things. We've had either teammates or we've been in athletics in situations where you have 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 eyeballs on you, and for me it would be no big deal because I'm gonna die tomorrow. So call me what you will because I don't give a rat's ass. Okay,
right, so let me.
I'm going to give you the best I got, and that's it.
I'm gonna make you give me a second half projection since you just talked about expectations. So what would we make of this 3-man rotation? Kevin Gausman, Anthony DeSclafani, Alex Wood, all three pitching way over their heads.
Who was the third one?
There's going to come a point in
Alex
August
Wood.
down the stretch. Alex Wood. There's going to come a point down the stretch in August, mid-August to September, where that race is going to stay tight, and all of a sudden these guys are going to be expected to win games. Do they fall apart, or do they continue to pitch well because, hey, listen, Kevin Gausman pitched in Camden Yards. Now he's throwing in San Francisco. It's a big difference. Right. Anthony DeSclafani pitched in Great American Ballpark, a bandbox. Now he pitches in San Francisco. It's a big difference.
Yep.
Do these guys fall apart because of expectations? They've never done anything. None of them have ever been asked to toe the load for any team in a playoff.
I promise you, you're right, Rob. I promise you, I guarantee on this show, in front of the 50,000 people listening to us and watching us right now,
beautiful.
I guarantee you negative regression on this pitching staff. I guarantee it.
Right.
Now, whether they fail isn't necessarily, or whether they meet expectations or miserably disappoint. Much of that depends on if their offense performs on the days that they're not very good. If the offense performs pretty well,
you know what? Give me that. Brandon Crawford, Buster Posey, Brandon Bell, all these 35-year-old guys.
Posey's done. I have a feeling Posey's done. Posey's hurt again, which we knew. Bell just had surgery. That was my concern. As much as pitching, my concern was that Rocco Baldelli was going to come out of retirement and leave coaching and join the other 100-year-old that until he got hurt was leading the team in hitting. So San Francisco is not a bandbox. However, look at the power numbers for this offensive lineup in that park.
Right.
They're above. Not only has their pitching staff pitched above, at some point in time we have to say, you know something, Billy Martin, you have done a effing good job with this Giants team. You're pinch hitting more than any manager in baseball, 2.5 times a game on average. 2.5 pinch hitters a game. He is in the front office, moving, shaking. Every day they're putting 25 hours of work into a 24-hour day to do anything and everything to get that centimeter of edge. And they pulled the right strings. I promise you, San Francisco fans, that we love you, but you're going to have to be perfect to be better than Well, listen. All you got to do is be better. All you got to do is better than Dave Roberts, and you're probably going to finish ahead of the Dodgers. But it's not going to be the same thing ahead of Darvish and
Snell.
and a pretty good offensive lineup when they want to hit. When they go on their what was the word you used? When they go on their rush, when they've done their speed balls, they're pretty damn good. They hit the ball a long ways, and they pitch pretty well, and they're getting healthy. The bullpen's getting healthy. So,
yeah, San Francisco, way back to your original point about Seattle, San Francisco played carefree this whole first half. No expectations whatsoever. Who thought they were going to be anywhere near here, right? Nobody.
Nobody.
The
Except
fact
for
that
who?
they've done it with journeyman pitchers and over-the-hill hitters.
Yeah.
And like you said, Tone, power sources that we haven't seen out of these guys, Posey, Crawford, in a long time.
No. And thank God for the distraction on sexual silicone or whatever, or sticky, whatever the hell that stuff that's going on. Thank God for that distraction, or they'd be sending these guys down for PED tests every other inning.
It's a smoke and mirrors job in San Francisco. That's the point.
Yeah, I'm afraid it is. I like the story. You're right, Rob. It's a good story, though. Listen, it is what they have done hasn't necessarily made the players any more money than they're going to make. Maybe a couple bucks here or there. The pitchers, if they can sustain the peripherals and some of the fortune they've experienced, they're going to Gosman will get paid. However, I think we'll see a little bit. Am I wrong or right about some of the spin rates on these guys? Let's see what happens in the second half on the spin rates on these guys, too.
You know what? I actually thought so with Gosman, but it hasn't turned out.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. Maybe he hasn't stopped using it.
That's why I asked you about Gosman and DeSclafani, because
I know
to
you
me, the bigger park is helpful. Yes, I give them that. When you pitch in Camden Yards and you pitch in Great American Ballpark, that's a different deal than pitching in San Francisco, whatever they call it nowadays. There's got so many names I can't remember.
It's T-Mobile, isn't it? T-Mobile?
T-Mobile.
No, that's Seattle. What is it? It's
Oracle?
Oracle.
Okay, so throw it in Oracle is different. We get that. So they may be, they're going to be better than they were in those other places. But I just don't know. When push comes to shove, and I'm asking Kevin Gosman in a pennant race to go throw against Yu Darvish or go throw against Walker Buehler and win me a game, I'm not so sure it happens. Second half, I'm just not sure it happens.
They can. And the thing is, it's very possible that they can go pitch for pitch with those two guys on any given Sunday. Let's call it any given Sunday, any given night. However, their lineup isn't supposed to go pitch for pitch or hit for hit with
either one of those.
With San Diego or Dodgers or LA.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to.
If you look at what gives it away with the Giants, if you look at their team, individual batting averages, and then you look at their OPS, and the leap is crazy. And even their on-base percentage, they don't necessarily even get on base. I think I looked last night, and there was one guy over 345 on base. One guy. But yet these OPSs are huge. So it just tells you right there that when they hit the ball, it's extra bases more often than not with this team. And I just don't know with that lineup how it could continue. I mean, give me a break with these guys.
It is Detroit. Look at Detroit. They have been the poster. They have been the dartboard for. I've had guys tell me, "Listen, this Detroit team, this offense is so bad, they can't even turn a double into a single." Look, they're eight games. They're 8 games under 500.
Yeah. Here's another stat for you. I know we mentioned that the starting age of the 5 is 30 or older.
Yeah.
Okay, so non-pitcher age is 31.
Yeah.
By far the highest in Major League Baseball.
It's an old baseball team.
I'm not saying they need wheelchairs, but 162 games does take its toll.
It's already taking it, and that is true. Listen, that's what I wanted to get to with Rodgers. If you look at his last 2 or 3 starts, he had not walked more than 2 guys since opening day. And then as soon as they announced this tack, he walked 2, then he walked 4. I don't know what he walked in his last game, but he had walked 6 and 2 and in the 2 prior starts to his last start, which I think was against the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I
but
think he threw well against the Dodgers the other night.
I think so too. Not that the Dodgers are much like the Dodgers are much like there's a couple other teams. They just don't walk. They swing at everything. They don't walk.
Without 2 guys. I mean, Muncy is great on base, great eye.
Yeah.
Turner
Well, they're the worst
generally-
situational. These guys, they can be up by 1 run. It'll be the 7th inning of the $10 billion classic, and these sons of bitches couldn't bunt their way. They couldn't bunt their way to the mound, let alone first base, and they're swinging for the fences. Listen. First off, that's the day and age. That's the video. Major League Baseball, video NFL, video NBA we live in. It's
Sure
3-point
is.
shots, swing for the fences, and 1.5 minute offensive drives.
Well, and with them, I mean, Cody Bellinger is
Yeah.
the most fraudulent
Oh.
MVP ever in baseball history. I mean, that guy won an MVP on 1 half. Ever since that first half of baseball, he's been
Yeah,
horrendous.
it's true.
He's been horrendous. They're going to get a big break. They're going to get a big boost because people forget that Corey Seager's coming back into that lineup. And when Corey Seager comes back
we
into
hope.
that
Yeah,
lineup,
he does not
it's a
doing
different
really
deal.
well, by the way. So
it's a different deal when you run Betts and Seager and Turner and Muncy. But
Well, they've
Bellinger,
returned
they might
a
as well
bunch of
hit
guys.
Bellinger 8th, and Will Smith has turned into a good hitter. They're good. Giants aren't good.
Listen.
Giants aren't good.
if you can, people say, well, the Dodgers knew that Stripling was a fraud. That's why no, Stripling is no fraud. I mean, Stripling, you don't. Yes, people overreact. His April was miserable. Look what he's done since then.
Yeah. No, he's been
Yeah.
good. I bet him a couple times in this, especially 5 inning. He's not
Yes.
giving up more than 1 run in 5 innings in like 5 of his last 6 starts.
Right.
Good. I
Right.
think we laid that out one day, John, in a best bet segment. Ross Stripling, 5 inning numbers have been great.
The Dodgers are that talented. They're that They're that deep. I mean, they got guys in the minors that would be part of that Seattle rotation lineup. They would be.
And it's being tested now, Tone, because losing Dustin May was one thing. But if this Bauer goes away for a while, 2/5 of that starting staff is gone. This trade deadline, that market's going to be open for a lot of people, especially for them. If, like I say, if Trevor Bauer is really in trouble here, and they don't see him on the hill for the rest of the year.
I don't know whether we did that. I don't know if you watched the first pitch this morning. You probably don't. Like me, you got too much to do to be watching the shows. But I had shocking. I didn't. Dave and I didn't agree about something. And
Okay.
yeah. And while I liked him today, I didn't look at the final score. I've been so busy, as I told you, with family in town and and it's just crazy here with me because I'm not used to. It's the first time I've been married 27 years. First time this has ever happened, like this. So, other than my girls who come visit, they don't give a shit, So, my wife doesn't give a shit. But what was the final score of the Detroit and Texas game today?
It's 5-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Detroit's up 2 runs. Casey
Okay.
Mize.
Both of those, Mize first off is on a load management. You can't trust that he's going to go more than 2. They're really being careful with him, and he's been good this year, guys. His numbers,
Yes.
he's okay.
Yes.
However, the argument was, I liked Texas today with
Kyle Gibson.
with Gibson. Gibson has the best WAR, F4, in baseball. Is the best WAR in baseball.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Right?
However, there's regression. Look at his peripherals, the missing of that. There's a lot of things that point to. I know. Listen, Dave made the point. I knew this. I didn't mention it because I didn't really want to, because it kind of, it fades my what I'm trying to pitch. It fades it. It dilutes it some, but. One is a difference. He used Mariano Rivera, and when he got the cutter, one pitch changed the guy's career. I said it absolutely did. There's a big difference between a starter and reliever. I said, name me right now a two-pitch pitcher, a two-pitch starter that is an elite pitcher. You can't do it. You can't. You might do it for 3 months. Can't do it. Not unless he throws 105 miles an hour and he has the same exact delivery point and the same look. I mean, exact arm angle, everything on his slider or his changeup, or whatever his second pitch is, that makes that 105 110. They don't exist. They don't exist.
I'm going to tell you.
Josh Beckett.
Beckett
Josh
could
Beckett.
throw hard.
Listen, Josh Beckett, he just bought his urn. He's been dead for years, and baseball isn't what it was when Josh Beckett was pitching. Maddox, I don't think Maddox, as good as Maddox is, Maddox pitches in this day and age of baseball, he is not a Hall of Famer. He's a good pitcher. He's not a Hall of Famer.
I'll tell you this real quick. Kyle Gibson and Texas should choose to. There'll be a bidding war for him at the All-Star break, at the trade deadline. There's going to be
Texas,
6 teams in line.
If Texas doesn't, you're right. If they don't trade him,
right,
because they're going to get a pretty penny. Right now, there's not a bunch of elite pitchers that are going to be available.
Yeah, no,
July 30th. So July 30th.
If Texas plays it right, John Daniels, a smart GM, they're going to get a haul for a guy who's been an average Major League Baseball pitcher his entire career. Average.
That's correct. And he's 7. Well, he was 6-0 coming into this, but he has a 3.5 or a 3.7 F WAR. I mean, it's the best WAR in baseball.
But you know what's
that's
great
better than Grom.
Let me tell you I just want to
this will be the first time I contradict you, Tony.
Okay.
Right. And I ask for forgiveness before I say this, but Zach Wheeler is actually number 1 in WAR for pitchers, 5.2. Then Gossman, 4.5. Then Gibson. So very close.
Well, then, you know what?
I only said that because Wheeler is a Philly. I would have never brought it up.
Okay.
Right, Rob?
Now, let me ask you this.
That's true.
How about a week ago?
Oh, you're probably right. Because Wheeler did have a great start his last start. I can't remember what it was.
All I know
it was excellent.
The guy that gave me the charts, I trust him. He's never, I'm sure he's been wrong before in his life, but he damn well better not be wrong with me if I'm going to go on air and tell you this.
Well, no, it's not. It's not about no,
but who would?
But if it was a week ago, it could have easily been him.
No,
I'm just seeing what.
I don't. Could have been, would have been, should have been. Ifs and buts, candy and nuts. We all have a Merry Christmas. Shit, was it?
Let me tell you what Wheeler's start was previous, and I think that will give us the answer. So, game logs. Boy, the Mets wish they had him still, I bet.
The Mets came back and won that game in the bottom of the 8th.
When?
7-inning doubleheader. They won it. Milwaukee
Today?
went ahead. Yeah, Milwaukee went ahead 3-2 in the top of the 8th. The Mets won it in the bottom of the 8th.
No, I meant Wheeler's tonight. Wheeler pitched at 5.
Yeah. His last start, 7 2/3, 4 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts, no walks, ERA down to 2.05, 114 pitches, 78 strikes, game score of 80, which was his highest of the year.
That's a pretty darn good game score. That's like my IQ.
That's
my IQ. So it's pretty good.
So your guy was right.
I told you. Your guy was right. He doesn't steer me wrong.
A week ago, it was Gibson.
So, but just the fact that Gibson has the highest WAR. Now, granted, it's wins above replacements, right? So, I always tell people, listen, wins above replacements. Who's replaced? I would have a 5 or 6 on the Texas roster, and then they say that's not what WAR. I say, listen, it's wins above replacements. You can't replace me.
Well,
you can't win.
Yep.
No, I'm messing with you, but
to somebody's farm system for that guy, that's for sure. And they're gonna if they're smart, and like I say, Daniels is smart, and Kyle Gibson. The best thing about him is you could start that chant tone MIZ, and you could finish that baby off.
Well, here's the deal, and that is he has developed a cutter. He developed a cutter, and he worked it during the 60-day sprint, and all of a sudden, and Dave is accurate. Here's what Dave's spot the F on, and that is when it's a night and day. Gibson, how he presents himself, his posture, the way he walks to the mound and walks to the dugout is night and day different than what he did at Target and who he for Minnesota. He was slumped. There's no explanation for it because damn, the Rangers, they've won 21 of their games. They've won at home of their 37 or something, and they're still 21 and 22 at home. They're not very good. They're just not.
If he goes to one of those places in the National League.
Oh,
City
the National League makes him even better.
Because they haven't seen that cutter, right? So if he winds up in Citi Field, if he winds up at Dodger Stadium, if he ends up in Petco Park, if he ends up, I don't want to say whatchamacallit, the bandbox, Milwaukee, I'm not sure. It's a short.
Depends on the roof. Depends on the roof.
He's a 4-starter on a playoff rotation with those teams, and he's a difference maker as a 4-starter for those teams. So somebody's going to
for
pay
the Dodgers. For the Dodgers, here's another deal, guys, and you can tell me it's for money, it's for love, that he has the same IQ as Tony Finn, which is in the 80s. Anybody that moves from the National League to the American League is a friggin' idiot. Anybody who plays football when they can make the same amount of money playing baseball is a double friggin' idiot. Because you're going to play baseball if you have that talent and they want you. And I'm not saying that and I won't mention his name, but his initials are Arizona quarterback playing football as a first overall MLB. That is absolute lunacy. If money's what you're looking for, because that's lunacy. You don't play 6 years, 10 years in the NFL and then suddenly decide, you know what, I'm a little too old for football, but I can sure as hell play baseball still. No. If you haven't played baseball in 10 years, you missed 2 or 3 MLB drama soap operas where they have denied until they had to make a story up so it was the players' faults, so they don't have to pay the price, and they've done it for years and years and years. And I've said it before. They came out and said, well, we didn't know Jackie Robinson. We didn't know black players were this good. We don't have anything against black players. Or we didn't know that McGuire and Sosa were juicing. No, we just thought the career years. Yeah, really. 70 effing home runs. Major League Baseball is and Joe West. Joe West is a microcosm of Major League Baseball ownership. Entitled and completely oblivious and exempt from any laws or rules that we have to live by.
I think he's the home plate umpire in the Phillies game last night.
Yeah, well, no, Cubs. Yeah, right. The Cubs. Yeah, the Cubs. Yeah. He came up and put hands on. And if a manager puts their hands on an umpire like that,
you're done. You're out.
10 games.
Ejected.
But Joe West starts humming one of his country. There goes my damn. Every time I start talking bad, my microphone just slung across the. And there it goes. There's a weird shit going on here, man. Okay.
You must be on the second floor.
Nope. I think I hear somebody up there, so I could have another floor. No, my point is this: baseball has been this way. They used to let players back in the day, and when they went to their when they finally had to, when they were so cheap that they wouldn't buy extra, that they hired security guys to go through the stands when a person hit a home run or a foul ball went into the stands. They hired people to go collect the ball, because balls then, it's the equivalent of they were $3 a piece then. It's the equivalent of a ball costing $100 now. Okay. And they let players gamble on games especially the big guys. At that time, it was pitchers that weren't getting paid. The Cy Youngs. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Cy Young in 1920, those years whenever he's pitching, they were transparent about gambling on themselves to their teams, and the owners were okay with it because that way they didn't have to pay him more money. The hypocrisy in baseball, the entitlement by these owners, they're different than every owner. They're different than NFL owners. They're different than Cubans. You see NFL owners, not as much as basketball, but you still see it. You see them out there at charities. You see them doing things. They're in the stands. They're on the sidelines or on the behind the bench. Major League Baseball owners, their Glass may have been at 2 Royals games when he owned maybe 2 the whole damn year because he preferred to hang out down there in the Ozarks with the hillbillies and fish and kill people and shit. I don't know. I don't know.
Season 4 is coming up. Season 4 of the Ozarks on
My
Netflix
point
is
is
coming
this.
up.
Baseball is so
Yep.
they're in so much trouble right now. The fact is that they would do what they've done with this substance. They've known these guys have been using it and for years and years, and the timing, the contract negotiations they're right now are under. They do everything. Everything they do is for $1. And I understand there's guys right now listening. Well, that's what businessmen do. No. That's not what every businessman does. Now, I will say this. Ewing Kauffman, his goal was to outspend Steinbrenner, and he did that while he produced mass quantities of Quaaludes and sold them. That's what he was. He has a pharmaceutical company, and they're the biggest crooks in the world, right? But Ewing Kauffman, as an owner, was generous and outspent Steinbrenner. And he said, I'm going to outspend that felon. I'm going to outspend that guy that illegally contributed, to some Republican billionaire, and it didn't need the damn money, but he did it, and he got caught, and I'm outspending him. And he did.
We're going to have a show, Rob. You and I will host it together because I'll need help, and the topic will be who will win the 2024 presidential election. And Tony Finn will be our only guest.
You don't want me. I don't want to talk about that.
We'll lock down the chat room and everything.
I don't think that's another problem. Is this, and that is that they have made and baseball owners have done that as well. Is that listen? I applaud them for this. I applaud them for what they did by moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta. A lot of people will disagree with me about that. In fact, a lot of people will passionately call me a Russian commie, which I am. By the way, that's my heritage.
Card carrying.
Long story short is that I wrote them. I don't know if you guys read it, but I wrote about it. I lived during this time. I grew up in the '60s, where guess what? My neighbors were being shot in alleys because I'm a ghetto boy. They were being shot in alleys by police officers because they were black during the civil rights. I lived in a college town. The town I lived in, my escape was, I was a stone's throw from 18th and Vine, which was where Municipal Stadium was, where I could go see Charles Finley, I could go see Joe Rudy, Catfish Hunter, and it was an escape from my immigrant neighborhood that was 90% immigrants. And people say, well, no, you guys did it the right way. No, we didn't do it the right way. My grandfather and grandmother got on the bottom of a boat and got the hell to Ellis Island and said, I'm here, you're going to let me in. That's how they did it. No different than, it's just how they did it. And they got political aside. Well, they were, my grandfather served in the White Army, which was for the czars. That's how long ago it was. And Stalin was killing all of the czars. Anybody who served in the White Army, Stalin was worse than Hitler, But long story short is this, and that is that they've taken advantage of, they've made things political, and sports shouldn't be made political. We have passions, and we have, I have my views. My views are so unpolitical. It's not policy. I vote for who I think that the president of the United States should be a better person than me and smarter than me. And if you're not, then I'm not voting for you. And you should not be president. Is that fair? You don't want Tony as commander-in-chief, do you?
I'd have to think about it. I thought about it.
Well, okay, yeah, right. Depends on the day, I guess, right?
Well, if you buy me dinner, I'll think about it longer.
Probably
That's
are smart.
another problem. That's
Yep.
another problem. Is what will we sell our souls for?
Probably take about 2 dinners then.
Yeah, right. And this is another show, and I don't want to go there, but I will say this: baseball umpires, and this is not just me and my experience with MLB, and I don't have any. I'm not part of the dark web. I'm not part of the dark web and MLB. However, the people I do know that are and have been involved with MLB all say the same thing. It is a miserable job. It's a kiss ass. Yes, sir. Yes, master. No, master. Environment, and of course, it's unfair for me to place everybody in that container and throw them in that folder. But for the most part, you look. Baseball umpires are the worst. They think they're the show. They're not the show.
You know what they need? They need Ed Hockley. They need a guy like him, who coaches called Sir, who's the crazy man down in Houston Oilers.
Which one? Buddy Ryan?
No, he used to run up and down the sideline screaming.
Jerry Glanville?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yes. And
guess what?
I heard
You're right.
I heard Hockley speak at a corporate thing I was involved with, and about 4 years ago.
You have to put a wrestling move on an NFL official for him to throw a flag. An umpire, if you look at him funny, or you kick some dirt, they're the worst.
And the egos are
Joe West is one of the worst. And there are Angel Hernandez, who has sued baseball because he says that he's unfairly not been a crew chief. Well, you haven't been a crew chief, Angel, because you are one of the most blindest sons of bitches to ever wear a vest behind home plate.
Well, yeah, he missed that one by about 6 inches. I forget who it was, but he rang him up. That was pretty.
There's
recent.
a reason. There's nobody. Look at baseball.
But you're entitled, Tony. That's what you're missing. You're entitled as an umpire. What's taking so long? That's the difference.
Okay, I know. I'm going crazy. I told you guys I had 45 minutes to give you, and I've given you guys about.
Well, let's do final round.
5 minutes.
Best bets
I'm giving you 5 minutes. That's too damn much. That's more than nobody wants to listen to me this long anyway. So, baseball owners, you suck. You suck. You suck. You and Kaufman, you. And I know you're listening. You're the man.
Yeah. He's right here in the chat room, matter of fact. He wants to know who we're betting on the Scottish Open. I think that's who Max on record is, actually.
Not Cincinnati. That's for damn certain.
No, Scottish Open is golf.
I don't care about John Daly.
All right, the last 2 minutes of our show here, we're going to do our round the horn best bets for tonight. We'll save the NBA for tomorrow. We'll focus on NBA tomorrow, so we don't have to talk about the MLB owners.
You know what? Okay, yeah, I actually have. Okay, gotcha. I'm in.
Let's see. The only thing I wanted to say was, did you guys watch the match last night?
I did not.
You mean the WWE match?
No, this was Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady.
I don't watch that.
And we all
what
know
the hell would I watch
Tommy
that
boy,
for?
Right? So those are the two favorite guys in the world playing
golf.
golf.
Was Adam Sandler in the match?
He was in the gallery supposedly.
That's
but,
not good enough.
Aaron Rodgers,
unless he's standing next to Bob Barker, then I'm watching.
Well, Aaron Rodgers was teamed up with DeChambeau, and Charles Barkley actually gave DeChambeau a really good shout out, and hopefully it'll help. Some people when they're on TV and they're focused and they're playing U.S. Opens, they're different people. They're so focused that they come across as being
hold on,
meatheads, like Max on record says.
You mean like pressure?
Yeah, and then when they get off of the court, off the lines, they're out of the gym and they're normal like us. Barkley said he's one of the funniest guys he's ever known. So, I thought that was good for him, and maybe that helps people understand that he's just one incredibly focused individual when it matters. But last night, now this is at altitude, ball flies further in Montana, one of the most gorgeous courses you will ever see. There was actually a 700
altitude.
Yes, I guess it was.
And it's dry.
8,000 feet.
And it's probably like, in Phoenix, I could drive the ball 400. I could drive 400-yard par fours, no problem.
Well, listen to this.
Yeah.
They're on top of a hill. Hole number 2. Bryson takes out a 3-wood, puts it within about 10 feet. Maybe it was 12 feet. All right. So he's on the green in 1.
Par 3?
Par 4. It was a 400 and some odd yard hole.
I like that.
All right. So
they haven't watered the fairways in a
misses
year.
The green. Aaron Rodgers is pretty much, I think, out of bounds on that hole. But then Tom Brady hits last, puts it to 5 feet. Bryson loses the hole.
I just
and
can't
of course, Tom Brady made the putt.
Of course, but he had 5. They edited it. He had 5 shots at that son of a bitch, and of course it had to be Tom Brady. No, they sell you as live. Yeah, they tell you it's live. It's the same thing.
Delay,
it's the same thing they tell you when you call the 1-800-SEX lines. This is live, right? It's not live.
Boy, there it is, Rob. Write that down. That's what I learned today. I was waiting for something that I was going to learn, and I finally did it. And now we can end the show.
Tom Brady doesn't make 5-foot putts.
There was some rubbing on Rodgers, though. Brady actually said he was talking to Gronk on the phone. Gronk called in to say hi. He was at his nephew's baseball game, da-da-da-da-da. So, Gronk's going like, well, what's it like playing golf with Rodgers? And, he's basically trying to talk soft. He says, he's only 30 feet away from me. And then he did give him a rub and say, well, I think he's still the quarterback of the Packers. I'm not really sure he's the leader, but he's actually, I was like, oh, my God.
Boy.
And everybody laughed. I mean, it was probably all, rehearsed so that, Aaron wouldn't,
because he will.
Have a silly
he'll
fit.
He'll take his ball and your flag stick and go home.
Yep. That's exactly right. But anyway, it was a fun event. But my free pick for tonight, we'll go around real fast here.
Is Aaron Rodgers.
I have dinner reservations again because every Wednesday.
What is it? What happens on Wednesday? Bingo night?
She makes
bingo
dinner date for me. And we go.
Who is she, by the way?
My wife's name is Carol.
Carol, it's a nice name. Carol, nice name, yes.
Yeah.
Why is she married?
Carol Kelly. Tom.
And, it's close.
Carol Vegas Kelly.
I won't do it on live YouTube here, but I can tell you that her maiden name is very Irish.
Aye.
So I'll leave it at that. So my free pick for the Scottish Open.
There once was a girl.
No,
named Carol.
Was a man.
There once was a girl named. There once was a dame. A lady named Carol.
Alexander Noren.
Who
is who
married
you should be focusing on.
Dumpkin.
Alexander Noren, 30-1.
Yeah.
That's my pick to win the Scottish Open. No, I'm sorry. I'm
picking.
Wait, scratch that. That's the John Deere Classic. That's my guy to win the John Deere Classic. The Scottish Open is Morikawa, which I said earlier in the show when I started, 11-1. John Rahm is 6.5-1. No value there. But Morikawa is playing well. I would stay away from McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Tyrrell Hatton. And then Matthew Fitzpatrick at 20-1. And Max on Record also has him. So that's 2 of us on him. And then my third one for top 10, top 20 is Corey Connors. So
I'll tell you, I have a buddy.
Picks for the Open.
Okay, here's my buddy's pick. Okay, I'm not going to tell you his name. His initials? I'm not going to go there. But I'll tell you this. Tell me if this is a good pick or a bad pick. He told me that he said, Tony, put a couple dollars on Tyrell Hatton.
I
don't know who Tyrell Hatton is.
He's very good. I'm trying to think where he is in the golf rankings.
Well, I don't know, but he told me that he said you're going to get about 20-1 on him.
Yeah, I think maybe I didn't include him, but McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Tyrrell Hatton I actually would avoid this week.
Okay, why?
because at the Scottish Open, it's a
Well, he told me that
preparation
Hatton had won. He had won this course 2 times.
Yeah, it's at the Renaissance.
No, he said it was Alfred Dunhill or something.
Well, that's who the sponsor is.
Oh, okay. Alfred Dunhill
But it's
Links
the
Championship
second,
thing, right?
there's-
Okay, yeah.
And there's 4 Rolex tournaments in European golf, and this is the second one. So this is a big deal.
Okay.
It's a big tournament for European golf, and it sets up the U.S. Open at
Right.
Royal St. George's next week, which I have said since Rom won the last event. It'll be the first time I'll ever bet a favorite to win a major. But
Well, I know this.
the level he's
If
playing at is nowhere close to anybody else.
then why would he tell me?
Well, I mean, everybody has opinions. That's what makes the market.
Well, no, but this guy doesn't never. He's not wrong, hardly ever.
Well, then that's
Nostradamus.
Huh?
I'm trying to figure
In
out
fact-
who he's talking about.
In fact, I'm going to go bet the son of a bitch tonight. Now that I'm just going to go do it because you made it very clear. You reminded me that he never ever does that to me. He never subtly. It's almost like, hey Tony, I had a dream last night. So whatever you do, don't cross the crosswalk at 18th and Vine because you're going to get your ass run over. Well, if he said that to me, I promise you, I'm not crossing the fucking sidewalk there. I'm not.
So Terrell Hatton, huh?
That's what he said. Is that his name? Terrell or Tyrell or Ty
Yes,
or
Tyrrel Hatton.
Terrell Hatton. Is
He's
he-
18 to 1. The guy
Oh,
right
18
behind
to
him,
1.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
I like better. That's my personal
Okay.
opinion.
So why would how much is Fitzpatrick? What's Fitzpatrick's odds?
20 to 1.
Well, no, I don't.
20 to
like
1,
him. I like the
3.5
18
to 1,
better.
2 to 1. Top 5,
Why?
top 10.
Why is Hatton 18 to 1 and he's 20 to 1? Why is that?
Because more people bet on Hatton than Fitzpatrick by a modest amount.
Why would they do that? Why would the idiots do that?
Well, you fade the public, right?
No.
Don't you fade the public?
Do I? No, the public's right sometimes. I don't intentionally just go out and fade the public. I don't even. That's not. I know people who do. They just bet all the line movements, and of course, I used to know them. I don't even know where they live or what jail they're in or what insane asylum they're in for doing that for that many years. I don't know where they're at, but they do it. They have.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and they're not. It's the same thing as a guy goes. You have a guy who's bought a capper or an investor or a consultant. Call him what you want. There's lots of other names they call him. But here's the deal: you can't. I'm going to buy him and fade him. Well, he better be as bad as historically good as a capper can be, or it's going to be the same song and dance. That guy that hits 53%, 52% will bankrupt you. Whether he wins 52 or loses 52 doesn't matter. If you're going to fade it just doesn't matter. Here's what you do: you follow Rob, you follow John Vegas, Carol's better half. One who has Carol as his better half. Those are the guys.
I outkicked the coverage by a mile.
You're saying that she married above her pay grade?
No, I did.
Oh well, that makes that.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a good answer. If you
I don't know how I
married
pulled it
more
off,
than
but
a
I did.
day.
And all this time, it's a miracle.
Well,
All right,
yeah.
so I'm going to tell you what. You tell your
yeah.
friend I will take Morikawa. He can have Terrell Hatton. We'll see who wins it.
And what's the odds on Morikawa?
He's the third favorite.
Well, then, okay. What's the odds?
Let me pull it back up here. I was trying to see if there was a matchup bet with the two. All right, tournament lines. Morikawa's 11 to 1.
Oh, he's 11. Okay, then this is the deal. And Hatton is 18 to 1, right? So this is what we're going to do. We are going to move Morikawa down to 2 to 1, and we're going to move Hatton down to 10 to 1. And if you win, you get paid 2 to 1. If he wins, you get paid 10 to 1.
Oh, I would consider maybe moving Morikawa down to 2 to 1 and Terrell Hatton to 350.
The 3?
3.5 to 1.
What
Yeah.
ratios? What MIT building did you come out
Because
of?
there are only 2 guys now. You're talking about 156 golfers in the event. Now you're only talking head to head. Like there's only 2
We're
golfers
still talking
in the
about
field.
the same guy with the same shoulders, the same
What are the odds that
clubs.
Zach Wheeler is going to strike out XYZ guy?
What?
I mean,
I'm
on any given matchup, it doesn't mean that the Phillies win the game, but if he has an advantage.
My point is this. Okay, so what are you trying to say about what's the odds on Wheeler tonight?
What are they, Rob? Minus 130?
Okay,
35?
so you like Wheeler. You like Wheeler at 130, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, then I'll tell you what. I'll give you the same kind of a deal. You listen. You like Wheeler. I don't blame you. I like Wheeler too. But since you find him first, then it's only fair that Wheeler's minus 130. I tell you what. You can take Wheeler at even money. All right, I'll give you even money. Wheeler at even money, and I'll take Rue at minus 130. There we go.
You still with us, Rob?
Yeah. Ryu. Tony wants Ryu, and you want Wheeler.
Yeah, right.
They're not pitching against each other, though.
But this is
No,
my final.
they're not,
My final offer is this.
Yeah.
I'll do the odds at the end because I have to do it in my head while I'm talking.
Well,
Whatever Zach Wheeler's strikeouts are tonight.
They are. It's 7.5.
No, whatever his strikeouts are tonight. That's how many shots Morikawa will beat Terrell Hatton by. I think
is that what it's projected to?
35 to 1?
No, what he actually does, Tone.
Yeah.
What
he actually does. So
if Wheeler has 8
tonight,
strikeouts, Morikawa will beat Terrell Hatton by 8 or more.
and even money both ways.
No, I want some odds. I mean, I said
Why?
25 to 1.
Well, why you want odds? You sound pretty darn confident.
Well, I do, but I still want to have odds because I deserve it.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll make you a
I'm
better
entitled.
deal.
I'm
make you a
entitled.
better deal. I'll make you a better deal, you MLB groupie.
I'm not an owner. Watch, I'm not an owner. I don't know it. I don't even know an owner.
You groupie, you MLB groupie, you entitled thing.
I did go
Here's
to
the deal.
school with the chairman of Comcast, though.
Here's the deal. I'll make it even better for you, okay? Here it is. Strikeouts and runs combined. Strikeouts, hits, and runs combined by Wheeler. Okay? He will divide that by 2, and that will be the number that he has to beat Sir Hatton by.
Why would we divide it by 2? There's 3 things.
because that's my angle. That's my angle.
Oh, I don't want that.
My story. I'm sticking to it.
I just want your free pick.
Oh, okay. Well, my free pick is Wheeler.
I'm on that.
It was my
Enough
free
said.
pick. It was my free pick during the and I had to do it quickly. And here's what I said: Wheeler's been damn good. In fact, Wheeler's been better than good. And over the last 3 weeks, the Cubs have returned to the sleepwalk that they had in April, and currently they're hitting overall the last 7 games they're hitting 178 with an on-base percentage of 278. Over the last 15 games, they're hitting 201 with an on-base percentage of 302. Over the last month, they're just as bad as they've been over the 7 and the 15 days. They can't hit a 2-pound fly with a tennis racket.
At this point in time.
Or the
Wheeler,
2-pound fly can't hit
Philly,
Sandy
and
Felton
Wheeler at
Campbell.
Wheeler at $1.40. $1 is stealing money.
I think so too. It's so cheap it makes me nervous.
Well, it should. It should make you nervous because
so cheap it makes me nervous.
Hatton is probably going to be in the stands with a slingshot because he's listening and he's mad at you because you. I shouldn't have said anything about Hatton.
I don't know how in the world I'm going to tell my wife that I'm stepping up to the plate and really betting a lot of money and actually admit that I put 100 on it.
100 thou.
No, 100.
100 large.
Yeah, 100 large.
Well, listen, guys. It's been fun as always. That's why I don't come to the show. I've got to be very careful because you guys.
Rob
will
didn't give his free pick yet. I don't think. I think he's.
I already know it's free pick. He told me.
Trying to figure out how to
what it
do
was.
it in 5 words.
He told me it's going to be Sonny Gray. He went Sonny Gray minus
Sonny
like
Gray
200,
win.
245.
Why
That'd be a great name for a horse, wouldn't it? Sunny.
And once was a girl named Sonny
Sonny Gray's Anatomy.
who
Boy.
lived in a Scottish town was funny. I don't want to go on. So what do you got?
I mean, you almost sounded like Bob Dylan there. You really did. I mean, it was close.
There once was a man named McGinnis who sang with Joplin, Dylan, and his dealer.
Rob, what's your free pick?
Well, I love the Wheeler pick.
You can. All three of us is good.
I'm just going to. No. We all agree on up. Looks like Jared Walsh just hit a home run, and it's 4-2.
Who did?
Angels. 4-2 Angels, bottom of the fifth.
Well,
homer. Eddie Rodriguez
yeah. Guess what?
Lit up here.
Yeah, I like the over in this game.
Well, you're in good shape because they haven't even played 5, and they got 6 runs already.
Yeah. E. Rodriguez, they both. That's just Haney. They both are not very good right now.
I'm going to play this bullpen game between the Dodgers and Miami.
Really? Okay.
I looked at it. There's just more available, steadier arms on the Dodgers side than there are for Miami here, unless your Miami lefty here, who's been around for a long, long time, comes out and throws better than I anticipate him throwing. But starting lineups have been posted for about an hour now, guys, and there's the starting lineups. I think they moved Bellinger down to 6 tonight in that Dodger lineup. Stronger lineup, more pitching, start to finish here. Jake Reed, the guy who was going to start this game, threw 22 pitches last night. I don't think he's going to go more than an inning. But then when they come behind him, they have Bickford, they have Price, they have Joe Kelly, they have Gonzalez, they have Kenley Jansen. 5 guys that are all available, as opposed to Miami, which is pretty slim as far as quality arms are concerned once they have to go to the pen. So I'm going to play the Dodgers here, 5-inning line, lay half a run, and lay 15 cents with that. I just think the Dodgers will get out quicker. And in the end, I wouldn't blame anybody for playing them full game either, because I think as the game goes on, the Dodgers have a better arm every inning the rest of the way out. So in what's going to be a bullpen game for both sides, I will play L.A., 5-inning line, minus a half a run. I saw Tony shake his head, and it just brought to mind there is one reliever in that Miami bullpen, right-handed, and I'm missing his name now. He's been a godsend for that team. Hey, give me half a second here, guys, because I want to make mention of this real quick before we get off.
While you're doing that, the biggest dog game on the board while you're looking up that is probably Colorado at Arizona, and I can make a strong argument where this is one of those games where you play Colorado on the road, and they've been about the worst road team in the history of road teams, I think.
Against Humberto Castellanos.
Well, Castellanos, right. Castellanos is listen, they just optioned him to AAA 7 days ago because of that. Let me tell you, and people do not admit it. They won't tell me it's true, but I know it was that 7-run implosion by Arizona. He was the guy that gave up the grand slam, the go ahead. They fall behind. They have that 6-run lead in the ninth, and they blow it, right. He has pitched, I think, 11 appearances or something like that for Arizona, and they've not won one of the games he's been involved with. He has one blown save. Long story short on that is that they don't put him in situations where they need to trust someone, and this is a game where he's going to pitch for 2 innings, and whoever follows. And I'll tell you this, I don't want people to get too excited about Sense, and the way he pitched, because he pitched pretty well last time out. He's pitched pretty well, period. Been better at home than on the road, which makes no sense, right? But remember, if you're bragging about a guy that just pitched and won against St. Louis, then you have no case, because they can't pitch and they can't hit. They're the most overrated team in baseball.
I think it's a game to pass on.
Very different starts. Senzatella's had very different starts against Arizona. One great, one miserable.
Right.
There's really no reason, Tone, that game shouldn't exceed 9.5 runs. Tell you the truth.
Why? I couldn't agree more. Other than people mistake Arizona. They mistake Chase for being. They mistake Chase for being a hitter-friendly park. That's not necessarily true when the roof's closed. And it will be closed because every day it's at least, at this time of year, feels like 100 degrees. It feels like it is 100. Are you kidding me? So I think today we are at 100. What are we at right now, ladies? I'm calling the audience. I have a gallery that are watching, listening to me, and writing notes too. I think it's probably corrections to my.
Well, we were 95.
115.
115
degrees. 115.
So
Right.
real quick here, just to let the listeners know, you want to watch out for Anthony Bender out of the pen for Miami, who's been absolutely phenomenal. I just caught wind of him like about a week ago and started watching this kid's stuff, and he's real deep.
When he's sober, he is dynamite.
Now, Chief Bender's kid, right? Another famous, I think, a Kansas City Royal from the 1910s, before they were called the Kansas City Royals, Athletics, and whatever they were before that. But back to what I was saying, Dodgers minus half a run, minus 115, 5-inning line. We'll play that. Want people to know about Anthony Bender, very good reliever. We want everybody to know that there's no reason the Diamondbacks and Rockies shouldn't go over 9.5 runs. Senzatella against the Arizona. Anytime the Arizona bullpen is incorporating the entire 9 innings, you might as well just play over, even though it's 9.5.
No other way to do it.
But if you feel that way, might as well play the over. If you feel that way, then what would be wrong with? Well, it was a dog. Now Colorado's actually a favorite in Arizona.
Yeah, well.
No wells. What's Colorado record on the road this year? What are they?
6-36.
Okay, and they're a favorite.
Well, Arizona is also 4-50 in their last 54 games. So which one is worse, right?
It's a dog game. It's the biggest dog game on the and I'm going to watch that one. That's the one I'm watching.
That's what makes.
In fact, I'm in game live on that one. I'm in game live on that right now.
It'll probably be the most exciting game of the night. 8-7.
Yeah.
10.
There you go.
Whatever.
Well,
by the way,
guys,
Sonny,
I'm going to run here to my
I got to go
dinner date.
All right, fellas.
Okay. Hey,
so
have a mezcal for me, John, and tell Carol I said
try.
hello. Tell Carol I said hello. Tell her I tried years ago to talk her out of this, but here you are.
She can't wait to meet you, Tone.
That's for sure.
See you guys.
Well, Rob will get to meet her probably first, and then he can share with you
I'll be dead
his
by
findings. His
then. If I'm alive,
observations.
it's a good day. It'll be a good day.
My observations are always good, so.
Yep. All right, thanks, guys, for your time. Yeah. So on behalf of Tony Finn, Rob Veno, myself, WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and this YouTube channel, Predictive Playbook, may all the wins be yours.